Is it the mustache? Who knows?
Okay. So generally, I don't know how this kind of coaching goes. So maybe you can give me like how to start up, how it'll go through.
Sure. So basically, I'll ask you a couple of intro questions. The most part is going to just be gameplay analysis, unless you want to work on something specific. And then in between, so we basically hop into games, play very slowly, and you explain the plan and your decision making behind every play.
This is a interesting one. This is.
What do you think of which deck this is gonna be?
So this is the Target Speed deck, so I was trying to hard mulligan all of this for more aggressive, like a Curse Keeper Butcher combo.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
That was my, yeah. So I'm just gonna not take any of this. I just want to like pressure them early. For example, I'll obviously open with Dune Keeper into round 2 fading.
Yep.
Just to push that damage. And then I have Vile Face for Zoe. Okay, so no Zoe turn 1 is always great.
Yeah, it looks good so far. Yeah, you said it correctly. I think the matchup or game plan in the early game is pretty straightforward. We are the beatdown, the aggressor, and just try to smoke him down. What are some key cards to play around?
So key cards would be Avalanche, and if they run RunningIShard, which I don't think they'll do because of Zoe. So my best guess is Avalanche. Is the key card. So here, for example, you could push 3 damage with Butcher, but you get in the risk of Avalanche. But at the same time, if he avalanches, it loses his ramp. So I'm tempted to go Butcher just to call out his bluff that it doesn't have Avalanche.
I think I agree. Yeah, okay. Just one more card that I want to add to the pool of cards to consider is Blighted Ravine. But even into a Ravine, I think we're fine developing here.
Okay. Like, generally with this deck, my game plan is early aggression. Oh, yeah, that much.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
So
like you
here,
said,
I
I
just
don't think it's a
glimpse.
huge problem for us. Yeah, Glimpse is good.
Yeah. Yeah. Generally, in this deck, I always try to go, like, Thresh, if possible, into, like, big Nasus into Atrocity. Is how you end games. But okay. So he loses his ramp, which is fine. So he can't play Peak next turn.
Yeah, and another thing to consider is we forced the Avalanche pretty early. Of course, right now our hand is a bit bricked, but if we had proper refill, we're very happy that the Avalanche is out of the hand already.
Yeah, the double Nasus draw is definitely griefing us here.
Yeah.
And this is also griefing. Like, this is just a bad hand now.
Right
So
now
I
it
just have
does.
to keep passing.
Yeah, but the matchup dynamic is going to be pretty interesting if our opponent does find and drop the peak, right? Because
So
what
he has
happens
no
then?
peak.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm assuming his hand is very heavy. He has no peak. He probably has 2 or 3 8 cost, or probably a Feel Rush in hand that he can't play yet. So I think I'm drawing Nasus every turn here.
Yep.
Every time here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just gonna keep the mana efficient because this is just 1 mana. And then here I develop because there's no Avalanche. Yeah, I just do this into this.
Looks good, yeah.
Get the draw because my hand's very bricked. And if you avalanches, it's like 4. Or my Nasus 2 has every time. But yeah, there's no reason not to develop here.
Yeah.
Right?
I
And then I
would
have
go
Deny
ahead.
as well.
I mean,
Yeah,
it
I have
does...
Deny as well if he goes for something very expensive.
Yeah.
So if he goes for something ridiculous expensive, then I can just deny it. Here, for example, I let this through, is my understanding. I just glimpse it, right?
Yeah, I like that
Or do
letting
I
this go
deny it?
through, because what would be another key card to deny next turn? Which card is way scarier than Avalanche?
Feel the Rush.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
I
do
like
I just
glimpsing.
glimpse here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that pushes for 1 extra damage in Nasus. Okay, this triple Vile Face is also griefing this matchup.
I mean, we have one play we could consider to push 3 additional damage, right? Even 4 additional damage.
Vile Face my own Nasus into into Ravenous.
Yeah,
I guess that is a play. Yeah.
it doesn't look bad,
You can't
right?
really kill. Yeah. You can't really kill the Nasus because it's not in a region. You can only hush it. So I think I like this. You can't
Yeah.
avalanche it either.
Yeah. The
My
downside is...
Nasus heals up because of the Butcher.
Exactly. So yeah, the punish would be our opponent developing blockers, but I don't really see a lot of fearsome blockers in that deck below 8 mana. Since our opponent can't play at that stairs anymore. And also,
and then I just have to now play around Hush to possibly get Atrocity Lethal.
Yeah.
Okay,
And I mean, another added benefit is that we get 2 cheap cards out of our hands in case our opponent does play Targon's Peak.
Oh yeah, that's true. So he has the healing. I can just play this.
Yeah, but before we play this, okay.
Oh, sorry.
Never mind. This would be like a good opportunity to plan out our turn, because we probably need to finish the game on our next attack, or like with the Atrocity after our next attack. So that would be a good time to slow down and reflect.
Okay.
Plan out our mana and think about all the cards we want to play this turn.
Okay. So I do want to keep up the Deny just because in case he got 0 mana Feel the Rush. He hasn't played his 0 mana card yet. So I do want to keep all this up. So the few plays that I have right now are the Bakai or like double Vile Feast the Rat. Is my double Vile Feast the ramp or single Vile Feast my unit to Black Spear the ramp.
I'm just looking if we can flip Nasus here anyhow, but I think we're 1 mana off.
Yeah. Like if you you need to get to 10 though. You can't get 3 slays here. Like you need this to be at 10, then do this.
Yeah, because we can Vile Feast 2 of our units, get 2 slay stacks,
Oh,
Black
true.
Spear, but then we're 1 mana off, right? And if we would not have played Doomkeeper, we still could. I think Bakai is good. Sorry, that was a bit late on my side.
That's fine. Oh, okay. That's even better. So here, this is 0 mana card. So I can just kill this. Vile Feast my unit into Nasus's Typhoon Strike.
I like it.
Actually worked out better.
Yep, we got a bit lucky there.
Yeah.
Of course, Troll Chant and Flash Freeze are 2 cards to consider.
No, Troll Chant doesn't work because of this.
Yep.
And only Flash Freeze punishes us here.
Yep.
But I have to play this or else my Nasus is stunned for now.
Yep.
And if it is Flash Freeze, let it get out of him now. Then I have Atrocity later. Yep.
Nice, looks good.
And I can also Black Spear this now. Run the ramp. Yes, why not? He has no other cards he can play.
Yeah.
He already played a 0 cost.
I like it a lot. It's an additional 3 damage coming through, most likely. Okay, another thing, like... I do notice you're playing kind of quickly. We can also take this time that we have in our turn to reflect on what the previous turns tell us about our opponent's hand state. Most importantly, what do they not hold in hand?
They don't hold, like, I know, for example, he played the Star Shaping, so he holds. My best guess is Great Beyond or 1 elusive unit. I don't think he took removal. And then he might hold Assault, but can't really tell because he got the 0 cost Mind Splitter. And the fact that he passed the earlier turns means his hand is super greedy right now.
True. So yeah, those are all very vague reads though, except for the Star Shaping, which is the only hard info we have. But we just said some scary cards our opponent could play in the previous situations, right? When we Siphoning Strike the Mind Splitter, what would our opponent have used?
He didn't have Hush, he didn't have Freeze. So unless you top deck the Hush, this should be a pretty good opening attack.
Exactly. So Harsh Winds is possible, but no Flash Freeze, no 3 Sisters. No Troll Chant, no Hush,
Exactly.
So,
I think I'm gonna get Harsh Winds this turn. But if he doesn't have Harsh Winds, this is the...
And if he has Harsh Winds, right? The next turn Atrocity is looking super scary again. Would you 3 Sisters? I think opponent always 3 Sisters. 3 Sisters Flash Freeze the Siphoning Strike the previous turn to save the Mind Splitter and stun Nasus. And
I do agree that you could consider the... I didn't think that because he didn't Hush last turn, that he didn't actually have Hush this turn, or very unlikely to have it. Only this card is Hush. And the fact that he's roping now means it's very likely he doesn't have a freeze.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he probably has healing, which is fine. I think that's still, what, 12? One off lethal. I think that's okay.
Yeah, it should be fine.
So
I mean, we want to
mana
get the spell shield on Nasus. So we could go for one super duper ultra greedy lethal on the stack. Do you know which one?
You Vile Feast. No, you deny and Vile Feast. I think some combinations of that.
But you can't deny the star shaping, right?
No, you can play deny. Oh, he's dead. This is over. He already played his Zerkaz card. There's literally no card in 3 mana pool that stops Atrocity.
Yeah,
And
go ahead. You can queue up the Atrocity.
yeah, this is my favorite card of this deck.
Yeah.
Just slam me, just
But
doing
yeah,
the bomb.
There was a way to put lethal on the stack at least, but it would be super interactable, so it would not be a good play. But it's still just good to always look through all your options, and that's why I'm asking you if you know what I mean, if you can find it.
Is it the Atrocity or the Spider to
Yeah.
push the 2 damage?
Actually, Atrocity any unit that's not Nasus, because you push. I mean, we
Oh,
roll
right.
one off, and that gives us an extra Slay stack. Yeah, I mean, you can have a look at the list first. Are you familiar with the deck's idea in general? How it tries to play, what it tries to accomplish?
Yep. You basically stall, or you go Trundle into double pillar with fading, and then Matron into Watcher for the end game.
Yeah.
And then basically want to stall till then with your control tools. Yeah, I know how the deck functions or its game plan is generally, and then obviously babbling is to just draw matrons. So you have 5 matrons here, I guess. Yeah.
Exactly.
So 3 plus 5. And then you generally just want to stall the early game. And I guess you're not running. Oh, you are running triple ramp. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah,
Okay,
so this should be a good deck to force you to plan ahead and to react to your opponent, to read hands and so on. Just take more info into account.
As you can tell, outside of the first game, everything is aggro in NA.
Yeah. Okay, what do you
So
think?
you always keep Vile Fist here. Sorry, Withering Well.
Yeah.
This is like premium Withering Well deck against. You never keep the Matron in hand.
Mm-hmm.
You keep I think you keep Lissandra as just like a blocker.
Mm-hmm.
But she's not a fearsome blocker. Do you mulligan her away for more like Avalanche or something?
I would keep her just because she can usually block 2 or 3 spiders with a tough.
Okay.
We also don't run
And then
sentry, so...
Yeah, so you think you read...
Fading Memories is an interesting one here. I could see it go either way. I'd almost lean towards keeping it. The reason is just we basically, depending on what our opponent plays, of course, but we can... So, okay. This is already planning a couple of turns ahead, but... looking at who has the attack tokens on which turn are we most likely going to play our Withering Wail on?
Round 3.
Yeah. So it's always a useful 1 mana card in our deck. Three Sisters doesn't count here because it's technically not 1 mana. So basically, if we want to weaken our opponent's turn 3 attack as much as possible, and we want to play Whale, we can only play a 1 cost card, a 1 mana card besides Whale.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way of doing so is copying one of our opponent's 1-drops and play it as a blocker.
Well, these are ephemerals, and unless, like, if you open swing, it's just, you take 5 damage. But I don't think you ever Vile Fist here without 3-2, just to block it. I don't think that's correct, because you tap down under Whale mana, you'll have 4 next turn. And I don't know if Whale can premium next turn or just Vile Fisting this to block it or block anything else.
I actually think Vile Feast on the rearguard here is really good.
Yeah.
But basically,
like,
I mean, if you play against an aggro deck, it doesn't matter if your blocker is ephemeral or not. To be quite honest, because you either it prevents your opponent It prevents a unit from swinging, and then it's the same as if it would have chump blocked something. Or your opponent swings and you block it away. Okay, the second
So
Wild Feast is very fortunate for us.
Yeah, like doing well. I think we'll still hit a target. You're kind of devaluing it a little bit by Wild Feasting here, but I still think you Wild Feast here to prevent the 2 damage. This is 2 mana heal for 3 right now.
Yeah, Wild Feast looks really good. Another play, yeah, no, we don't have to do it. One thing we could consider right now, planning preemptively.
Where it is. Okay, so we got... Go ahead.
What I said earlier, right? I'm not sure if we do this play here, but it's just worth considering. What I said earlier is the Fading Memories is a good keep in the opening hand because we can copy a 1-cost unit and still have mana to play Withering Wail on turn 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what we could consider here is copying our opponent's 1-cost unit right now, which is useful for blocking the 2/1 Precious Pet. But I guess we can also copy the...
block into itself, though. Like, you can't block the 2/1 Precious Pet. Like, you can't block Fearsome with the 2/1, though.
Yeah, no, I mean copying it with the Fading Memories. So we have a 1-cost blocker for later.
Okay. Here you always play Lissandra. You have 3 mana. You have literally not a turn play this turn.
Yeah.
I don't think you pass either because you always want to Withering Well. Like, here 1 damage is okay. Like, you want him to develop more into this.
Okay. Yeah, but before... Don't pass.
Okay.
I think there's a good play here.
Next turn you're fading the Doom Beast.
Yeah, but this turn?
You attack, hoping he'll block with Elise or Doom Beast.
Yeah.
And then get him down for Withering Well.
Is there any reason to not attack with Lissandra?
Nope.
Go ahead.
I don't think he'll block. If he's blocking, he's not a true aggro player.
Yeah, no, he shouldn't block, and that's exactly why we get 2 free Nexus damage.
Yep.
And if he blocks, it punishes him. Like, it's even better for us.
But doesn't it tell him that I have Withering Wail or something in hand? Like, doesn't it give him, like, open attack incentive now?
No, it technically doesn't, because... Well, yes and no. In Masters, it doesn't really anymore because everyone is capable of bluffing certain stuff, right? Okay, I don't like these blocks. Okay. What do we start with? What else do we play during the attack?
So you want to Withering Wail into Doom Beast is my play. It's my line right now. You don't. This is just for safety blocking. But you definitely Withering Well here because it saves you a lot of damage. And then you block either with this or with the Spider. But Lissandra survives this. And you can't block Elise anyways, so there's no point. And you never want to Vengeance Elise, you take too much damage here. So you either block with this or this, and this is just for safety blocking.
Oh yeah, that's actually a good point, yeah. Right, these lists might run Mark of the Ides. You're right about that.
So I was just gonna do this and then copy the... Oh shit, I should have... Hopefully you play something. Please play something. Wow. I forgot to copy the dude.
Don't worry about it.
He's playing something. We're good. See? He's a true aggro player.
Yeah, no, but copy Doom Beast is very good. Yeah.
I think you always play him this turn. Just to get health back. And the next turn you play Trundle for some blocking. Or do you hold up mana for Avalanche?
Yeah, that's actually... That might have been a bit too fast of a play. Now that we think... Like, if we really think about it, we can bank the spell mana, have 6+3 for this turn, which means we can play a 5-cost card and a 4-cost card. So,
that's true.
So it's a bit tricky. I'm not quite sure which the better play is, but here for sure we either take a attack or a pass.
Then you attack first to pass initiative. like even if you develop Trundle, you're probably not swinging with it. So you pass here for initiative, see what he does. So I think he's just gonna decimate.
Yeah, I have to disagree here though. If we develop Trundle, we for sure swing with Trundle as well. That's the idea of that's why it's not quite obvious what the better, if you should hard pass or soft pass. Because in this case, if we would have passed, our opponent also plays Decimate, then we play Trundle first and also hit with him. Because right now, what is our win condition? How do we win this game before we die?
Like, but like you can't really burn his Nexus down. Like Trundle, like now you played Trundle. I think obviously you don't want to avalanche into a 4/2. I think that's like he has 1 mana, so you can't really develop. Best thing you can develop is like 1 spider. So I think you always Trundle here.
Yeah, we play Trundle. That's good.
Yeah. Now you don't like. I just wanted to soft pass to see if you like play like a house spider, giving more avalanche value for it, because Lissandra dies to avalanche anyways.
Yeah. But going back to our win condition, you're right. We don't play burn for the Nexus, but do you think we win through the Watcher this game?
We don't have the setup anymore. Like because we used up the fading memories, we don't have the. We don't have the setup for the Watcher. So I do agree that I should have the reason I was debating was because I played the Doom Beast, I didn't have mana for both, and that's where I'm saying like I don't take maybe 1 turn ahead. I didn't preserve the mana. Like in hindsight, wouldn't make too much of a difference. Assuming he had 2 Decimate there, he would have just used Decimate anyways and killed me. Even if I did Trundle Avalanche next turn and holding the Doom Beast back, like I was dead anyways after that turn. But in hindsight, if you didn't have the Decimate, I do think Trundle to Avalanche may be the right play and just holding back the Doom Beast for next turn.
I don't really. I think the Doom Beast might have been fine. My point is just there's a high likelihood that we don't get our Watcher combo, or like we have to finish the game before we get our Watcher combo, and therefore, on this last turn, instead of open attacking with Lissandra to soft pass, I think we could have just hard passed.
Just like passed right away. And you would have played the Decimate anyways? Okay.
Yeah, well, it's a consideration because, again, it would technically get punished by our opponent clicking end round and open attacking because we know we don't have an answer to the Fear Summon hand. But our opponent doesn't know that necessarily. Consider here, basically, we have these 3 plays, right? We have open attacking with Lissandra only pushing 2 damage, leaving both options open, Avalanche and Trundle. We can play Trundle right away, planning to swing, or we can open pass, assume our opponent plays something, and then we have optionality open. That's the benefit of the open pass. I actually think I would have liked either developing Trundle or the open pass more.
Okay, instead of just soft swinging with Lissandra, I guess you're at like soft swinging with Lissandra isn't enough to win at that point. Like it wasn't a winning line, basically.
Yeah, I mean it's a bit tough either way. If we go 2 turns back though, there's one other thing we could have done on when I said I don't like these blocks intuitively. Do you maybe know why I didn't like Lissandra blocking the Doom Beast instead of the spider? Like at that point I myself didn't know yet that it might come back to haunt us, but like basically what's the benefit of the blocking the Doom Beast with a 1/1 spider over Lissandra?
Lissandra survives Avalanche if we go for that next turn.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay, so I do like that point. Like you want to keep Lissandra healthy because as the spider also dies, I was kind of, again, I don't play this deck at all, so this is from just from inexperience. I was trying to recreate from the last game where I was thinking like Lissandra's gonna die to Avalanche down the line anyways, and then I forgot that the spider also dies, so saving the spider there made no sense. I was thinking like you can roll back the spider for another block. just in case. But the spider not being 3 attack is kind of useless as a blocker.
Mm-hmm.
I do agree. Like you should have just blocked. I should have just blocked with the spider there. Kept Lissandra at 3 health, so that even if I did avalanche, Lissandra would still be at 2 health, and would not die.
Exactly, and like we don't only have the 2/2 tough body, but another thing to consider is you win quite a few aggro matchups by Lissandra leveling, getting your Nexus tough and getting free ice shards every turn. It's like if you flip Lissandra against spiders, it's insane, right? You deal 1 to their whole board every turn.
Like lose the entire game there, if you're healthy enough at the point. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So therefore, in hindsight, of course, I also didn't see it at that point, but yeah, it probably would have been better to sacrifice the spider because we're planning to play the whale in the near future anyway. But apart from that, yeah, I agree with you. Our opponent's hand was just kind of really good. Unfortunately, we didn't have an early fearsome blocker for Elise. It happens. It happens.
Games are like that. Like regarding the win-loss, I think the key part were learning when to pass. I know we're at the time now, so maybe we can just reflect on the most important stuff. Yeah, exactly. Sure. Yeah. So again, I really do appreciate it. I was a 33% chance of winning, and somehow, again, this was technically my first coaching session in like a video game.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So I feel honored that, and thank you for taking the time. But just looking back at the games, I do think some of the chips were very helpful. It's like when to soft pass, when to hard pass, and when to block. Like when to think like what the win con is with the game state it is in currently. Like my initial win con was just clearing out his board with AoEs and then just outvaluing him late game. That was why I kept the Withering Well and Lissandra in hand, and trying to see if I can find more AoEs. But I do agree that once the board changed, regardless of if I'm having burn or not, I should have like kept my Lissandra healthy and went for either the Trundle win con or the Lissandra flip, and not worry too much on like clearing his board and just focus on my own win con.
Yeah, I agree. One other thing to consider there is, like, if we would have played Trundle, pushed for additional damage, set our opponent to 10, we're likely to just win on the next attack. We either play Pillar level Trundle, then play Matron, pull a blocker aside, and the Overwhelm plus the Fearsome Matron should already kill our opponent.
That's true.
If we don't have access to a perfect Watcher combo, which we often won't have against aggro, you at some points, of course, at first you stall, you outvalue them, but they can almost draw endless burn off of the top of their deck. And we don't have endless healing, so at some point we also need to close it out.